This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He played with Bobby Mack, literally had a nervous breakdown the entire round, and by the time they got to the fourth hole, he was losing by a stroke. It was, you think Tommy Fleetwood's a train wreck. You should have seen what this poor guy went through yesterday playing with him.
Yeah, you know what I want to say in this too? Like, the winner gets the entire pot of earnings.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers. She does it night in, night out. She's been absolutely fantastic for a Dallas Wings team that really isn't going anywhere. We'll see what happens in regards to where they're going to end up in the WNBA draft, because obviously, if they win it, they're probably looking at her buddy, AZ Fudd, to be drafted next year.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like...
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid on a terrific Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, watching and more importantly, betting on the world of sports. Ah, yes, MLB regular season final week. As all the playoff spots up for grabs, we can settle things a little bit tonight. Seattle can clinch with a win and a Yankee loss. Yankees doing their part so far. Seattle throws first pitch a little bit later on. We got WNBA playoffs continuing. We got a betting streak on the line. How about a 12 straight under streak from the unlikeliest of all teams, believe it or not, that we can bet in? And do we continue to bet against the slumping Tigers and New York Mets? We will get to it all. My partner in crime, Mr. Gabe Morency. Ah, yes, it is game time. New feature here on the grid. What's betting you off tonight, Gabe?
Well, I'll tell you what, as you mentioned, Scott, it's a great time of the year right now to be a sports fan and a sports bettor. Major League Baseball, college football games matter right now. The NFL games matter already. We've got some great matchups coming up this week. The National Hockey League regular season is around the corner. And, of course, the WNBA playoffs continue. And, Scott, to me, I find it a little bit somewhat ironic that the Indiana Fever right now are like one of the best bets and best stories in sports. Caitlin Clark sneezes and it gets national media attention, right? And the WNBA national media landscape, basically, Caitlin Clark good, Angel Reese bad. And other than that, they really don't have a lot of interest in the league. But the fact of the matter is, Aaliyah Boston is a baller. Kelsey Mitchell, everybody talks about, Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever have gone further in the playoffs than they ever did with Caitlin Clark before, right? Like it's what they're doing right now. You know, they don't have Chloe Bibby. They don't have Sophia Cunningham, who gets more attention with one Instagram post and what she's wearing to the arena than Aaliyah Boston does when she drops 17 points in a playoff game. The lack of respect for the women that aren't Caitlin Clark in the WNBA is beyond, pathetic. Asia Wilson goes off for 38. If Caitlin Clark did that, ESPN would build a statue in Bristol, Connecticut, outside the arena and the studios. And here we go tonight, Scott. Once again, the Indiana Fever getting 9 points at a team, all they do is cover point spreads. All they've been doing is winning as an underdog. A team that had no business even making the playoffs to begin with. And they're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games. Full disclosure, I've gotten steamrolled at times betting against and underestimating this basketball team, but I'm done doing it, and I'm pulling the trigger, and I will be on the Fever tonight plus the points. And another quick thing that I've got my eye on, Scott, and I know you're a hockey fan. Hockey is back. The preseason has begun. NHL preseason coming into tonight. There were 20 games played. 13 of them went under 5.5. Now, we should note there were 11 games tonight. 6 of the totals were 6.5. So it's not as if though we're only dealing with 5.5s here. It's a small sample size at 13-7 to the under. But I actually played all 11 games under tonight. NHL preseason hockey, they do play hard, but star players generally do not play. They're not, they're people are trying to make the AHL team. They're not trying to make the NHL team. That's already decided. But a lot of players are trying to make the AHL team, and they're trying to stay in the system and get a pro contract. And there's a lot of grinders. Grinders lead to unders. There'll be the exception with a couple of high-scoring games, guys. But, anytime I see a 6.5 in the NHL preseason, I'm pouncing to the under, Wetzel. So we've got our eye on every NHL preseason game tonight and can't wait for that Fever game.
Love those blanket bets. I do it all the time. It's not smart, but I do it all the time just the same. All right, those
We're
are
going to
just some
find
of
out
the
if
bets.
it was smart or not. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
right?
20 games isn't a huge sample size, right?
No,
but
it's pretty good size, though.
It's not
size.
just the 20 games. It's the fact that I know hockey. I know, like last night, a good example. The Montreal Canadiens played all their young guys. Some of the guys are going to be on the team and stuff. They didn't play Cole Caulfield. They didn't play Nick Suzuki. You're not going to play your number 1 and number 2 centers and your star players this early in the preseason, guys. You'll see the star players start to play a little bit later on in the preseason. But early, there's a lot of young players, rookies that aren't even going to be on the team. And this stuff leads to under because nobody wants to make a mistake. And we do have some starting goalies starting as well.
All right, there you go. All right, so some of the bets that Gabe and I are going to be looking at tonight, we always kind of put our flag in the torch somewhere along the line, and we kind of veer off from there. So I'll give you 6. Gabe's got 6 as well. Back and forth we go. I'll start with under. Game is underway already. Second quarter. It's 157.5 now. I love the under Phoenix, Minnesota. They played 5 times this year. They haven't had one game, not one game, go to 160 points. So this game went up from the original line of game 1, which was 156.5. It's on an under pace already. Bet the under. I like the under 157.5 Phoenix and Minnesota game.
I'll start off with a baseball pick here on the Seattle Mariners, a smoking hot Seattle Mariner team. 14-1 in their last 15, riding a 4-game win streak once again. This team has had their ups and downs this year, but there's been more ups than downs right now. And the pitcher that they're facing tonight has been an absolute gas can. The fire department better be on standby tonight in Seattle because he's flammable. McCade Brown, this guy's been lit up. He's got an ERA of over 9. Let's lay the 1.5 with the Mariners.
All right, opening pickoff, as we like to call it here, continues. I got to hop on that WNBA theme you were talking about. I'll go with Kelsey Mitchell, over 20.5 points. She's hit that 3 of the 4 games in this postseason, and she averages over 21 points a game in the 22 games that Caitlin Clark missed to close out the season. Over 20.5 points, Indiana's Kelsey Mitchell.
Love the Kelsey Mitchell prop, Scott. And you know what? I'm going to get back to some WNBA after, but you know how we love the bobblehead nights, the sort of the anniversary nights, the return home nights. There's always there's always something you can sort of find, on a nightly basis. And tonight we have a situation, Shohei Ohtani, his 100th career start tonight. Shohei Ohtani looking for his 40th career win tonight. Los Angeles Dodgers looking for a division title. They can wrap this thing up as soon as tomorrow. These games matter, and I get it. It matters for the Arizona Diamondbacks as well tonight. But anytime I'm getting the Dodgers at a reasonable price in the minus 160 range, I need to pull the trigger. Give me the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight.
All right, baseball for me. I'll use Oakland / Sacramento / the Athletics. Pick them at home against Houston. A's actually playing well, 7-3 their last 10. Houston 0-3, 9-12 their last 21. They're fading fast. Give me the A's at home against the fading Astros, Gabe.
Wow. You know what? My next pick is actually going against you on this. This is an absolutely positively have-to-win baseball game tonight. For the Houston Astros. I think they do. The Athletics have played good baseball down the stretch. They are playing spoiler right now. They've won 7 of their last 10 games and helped me get over my preseason prediction of 71.5 wins for the Athletics. But I know Javier hasn't been great, but spring has been even worse. Give me the Astros tonight.
All right, I'll squeeze in one more before the break. Maybe you can as well. I'll take Milwaukee, pick them at San Diego, which clinched the playoff spot last night, and they celebrated like there was no tomorrow. They're not going to be prepared to play ball tonight. Give me the Brewers.
Taking the Brewers tonight. I'm going to pass on that. I looked at that baseball game. I was going to take San Diego, but I decided to pass. And my other picks are WNBA picks. We'll get to them on the other side.
Time to get those on the other side. The opening pickoff, as we like to call it, right here on the grid, just getting underway. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. Like, that's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season, or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Just getting underway. Scott and Gabe, hour number one with our opening pickoff. So we got 6 plays. I ran through 3. I like the under Phoenix, Minnesota, which is underway. Still pretty a similar number to what it was to start the game. Love Kelsey Mitchell for Indiana in the second WNBA playoff game, over 20.5 points. She's been averaging over 21. And then I like the Athletics at home. Kind of an anti-Houston just because they're slumping pitch. So give me the A's, who are trying to stay out of last place. And I think that is, and instead, no one wants to finish in last place for the A's, who are actually 5-0 against Houston in the last 5 meetings. Next pick, I mentioned Milwaukee. Pick them against San Diego. Kind of an anti-San Diego pick in that they did celebrate last night like there was no tomorrow. They clinched their 4th playoff spot in the last 6 years. If you watch the end of the game as I did, walk-off winner and everything else, really be surprised. Even though they got something on the line, but I got a feeling it's just like, whew, we made the postseason and Milwaukee gets the win tonight. My next play, Gabe, I love this one. Kansas City over 4.5 runs. Minus little juice, minus 140 and change against the LA Angels. This Angels pitcher, Sam Aldeguerri, he's got an ERA over 10. He's allowed 7 runs in 4 1/3 innings. He's got no business being in a major league uniform. He doesn't have any business being in a single A uniform, let alone a major league uniform. I don't know how Kansas City, which is still mathematically alive, doesn't get 5 runs tonight. Give me over KC 4.5 runs.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Scott, about the Seattle number tonight. This feels like they should be one of those minus 400 type of favorites, doesn't it? It's kind of strange that it's like, really? It's only minus 135 on the money line? I'm like, don't Seattle win every night and don't Colorado lose every night? And as I stated, Brown has been getting lit up. Now, there's, a broken clock is right twice a day, but I expect the Mariners to roll and keep the momentum going into the postseason. We talked about the Dodgers. Dodgers playing for a division title. They're going to be on the outside looking in. They're not going to pass Philadelphia or Milwaukee, so they're going to have to play the opening weekend series, but they haven't won the division yet. And San Diego, yeah, they celebrated. They're only 2.5 back. They're right there. The Dodgers can clinch this depending on what happens today and tomorrow. I don't think they want this going into the weekend. So I expect the Dodgers to, this is a real, and it's going to have a playoff atmosphere. Arizona are playing for their playoff lives as well. Arizona need a sweep. You got Shohei Ohtani, 100 start, looking for his 40th career win. And you and I have talked about this. And for people tuning in, it's very crazy. Ohtani, it doesn't affect him when he pitches. He actually hits home runs when he pitches often. He's so good that it's you know what? Don't be scared off that he's pitching. The guys, he's ending strong right now with the long ball. He's hit a home run in 4 of their last 6 games. He's hot. When he hits the ball, basically, if Ohtani hits the ball in the air, there's a good chance it's going over the fence. And other times, he'll line drive a double type of deal. But if he gets the ball up in the air, it's going to be a home run. And, 4 of the last 6 games. And we're actually getting plus 210. And I've left it on the table a couple of times last week where I'm like, I think Ohtani's going to hit a home run, but it's only plus 190. And then he hits a home run. I'm like, you should have just taken it, dude. The guy's got 55 of them or whatever. You know what I mean? Just ride the wave. He's hot. So he's hot right now. He's got a home run of 4 of the last 6. So a nice, simple, public square play here, guys. Give me Ohtani to hit a home run at plus 210. We talked about the Astros. And, Scott, I'm just done, bro, betting against the Fever. And the Aces, guys, so give me the Fever plus the points tonight. The Aces blew out the Seattle Storm in the first playoff game. They lit them up. They beat them by 30. Every playoff game they played since then has been a freaking battle for them, right? They barely win. It's a battle for them to win. They needed Asia Wilson to score 38 of their 74 points, and they won 74-73 on their home court against Seattle, who backed into the playoffs. And now you got the Indiana Fever. They don't have anybody, supposedly, but I don't know. Kelsey Mitchell looks like somebody to me. Aaliyah Boston looks like somebody to me. This team just believes right now. And, Vegas probably win the game tonight, but as somebody that's lost thousands of dollars, man, betting on these favorites in the WNBA play, I'm done. Give me the Indiana Fever plus the points tonight. And speaking of unders, these WNBA playoff games have really tightened up. The Fever, Scott, they're 8-2 to the under in their last 10 games.
Yep.
Yes, game 1 did get to 163. Still not what is 164 tonight. And the Las Vegas Aces are going to clamp down on defense tonight, right? They did the same thing against Seattle. They gave up a bunch of points. They got really mad about it, and they clamped down on defense, and they held them to 73. They just gave up 87 in game 1. Becky Hammond had a fit. They're going to tighten up. It won't be as easy for the Fever to score, but I think it's a lower scoring battle, and I'm taking the 9.
I'll finish up mine. I'll start with baseball. I love Seattle too, right? I mean, how can't you, right? I mean, honestly, how could you look at that game and say, I like Colorado? You got the worst team, one of the second worst team, realistically, in the history of baseball, wins and losses. And now they're facing a team as red hot as Seattle, 14-1, including 8 straight at home. I mean, how could you possibly not like Seattle? I'll lay the run and a half, and you're right, Gabe. You're getting a halfway decent number. They're 20-plus games over 500 at home. It's where they play their best ball. And they clinch tonight with a win and a Yankee win. And the Yankees are taking on the White Sox. So chances are, well, that game will definitely be over by the time the Seattle game, even starts, maybe. Certainly by the time it's over, they'll know the Yankees probably would have won. Yeah, that's not
what I mean?
bad
Like
thing.
the 1.5?
Maybe 2.5 even, if you want to.
Well, no, I'm thinking 4.5, 5.5. We'll take a look at the number after, but I think the Mariners win this game like 9-2 tonight. I think the total's a little light, to be honest, as well. I think there'll be some runs.
Rockies the second worst run line team in baseball, and they've been underdogs the whole game. So that is, that's minus a run or plus 1.5, and they're still the second worst team in baseball. So I like that. And I'm right there with you with the WNBA. That it's a straight. These two series, both the numbers are wacky because we gave it the under numbers with Minnesota, Phoenix. Indiana, Las Vegas, 7-0 under, including 4-0 this year. They're not getting to the 160s that they're giving you, and they're not getting to the 159 with the Minnesota Phoenix series either. So, and Indiana's won their last 3 against Las Vegas. They lost the first one, Gabe. I think they could win again. I hope they don't, because I got Vegas, a little nibble on them, but I think Indiana, I'd be surprised if they got blown out. That line at 9.5 is too high for me.
I think it's a close game. Like I said, I think, Vegas could win this game. They're going to need Asia Wilson to go off. We'll have some more player props for this. I'm going to play Kelsey Mitchell over 2.5 3-point shots made, and Asia Wilson always goes off in big games.
All right, we'll check the scoreboard when we come back in Game Live Game Day here on the Grid.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe just getting underway, so we got our ducks lined up. Our bets are in with the opening pickoff. You know what time it is now, third segment, and we've been on fire with these little SGP same-game parlay time. All right, we last left you on Friday with an SGP, but that was another winner. Boy, we've had 3 of these within the last week and a half, maybe. A nice little 855 WNBA Phoenix. That was against the Liberty, the deciding game against the Liberty SGP that we hit. So right back, the ladies have been good to us for the most part. So little SGP, we'll start with Indiana and Vegas. Gabe and I talked about it. We both like Indiana, so let me start with the Caitlin Clark less Indiana Fever plus the 9, a whopping number. I know it's against the zigzag system, but I'll take it just the same. Give me the under 164 that we talked about, Indiana, Las Vegas. I'll take Kelsey Mitchell over 20.5 points. Again, we explained that. And then I'll use Adrian Wilson just to, I'll lower her numbers a little bit. This is what we did on Friday as well to bump up the parlay. Like she averages well over 20 points. So I'll give you the 20 points with Wilson at minus 560. She averages basically double-digit rebounds. Give me 8 rebounds at minus 5-1. And that bumps the SGP up to a nice little 8-1. So Indiana under in the game, Mitchell over 20.5 points, and then Wilson 20-plus points, and then 8+ rebounds, 8-1.
Asia Wilson is another player that deserves much more media attention, but the WNBA media landscape has been TMZ'd, just point blank, right? And some of the players play into it, so it's their own fault, Scott, in my opinion. That's why I like Paige Beckers, bro. You don't see Paige Beckers rolling in wearing skin tight this and look at me posting on, like she walks in wearing a hoodie. I'm wearing a Dallas Wings hoodie. Like, you know what I mean? She doesn't, right? And they sort of exasperate this where, I'll just cut to the chase there. Like, if you're hot, you get attention, right? But there's all these women in the league that are like serious ballers. Like, who the hell talks about Alyssa Thomas ever, Scott? You and I do. She's a triple-double machine. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sophia Cunningham on the Indiana Fever averages 5 points a game, Scott. 5 points a game. Oh, she's out. She's not playing. Like, Instagram is more sad she's out than the Fever are. Like, you know what I mean? Like this. So like it baffles my mind. But all we can do is bet on and take advantage of the prop, Scott. Right? Because the people, these players are flying under the radar. Right? The Jewel Lloyds of the world and the Chelsea Grays and all these props are flying under the radar. But Asia Wilson, guys, like she really is. I don't know if in an NBA context. Like she's just sort of like she can take games over, right? Yeah. Like she can score. She scored like half their points, guys. So tonight's a must-win game. It's only a 5-game series. It's not a 7-game, but it's not a 3-game, but it's a 5-game series. Imagine, Scott, the Fever take a 2-0 lead going back home.
I know.
This is a must-win game for the Las Vegas Aces. So give me Asia Wilson over 25.5. It's her ball tonight, bro. We know it. In big games, Scott, it's give me the ball and get out of my way.
I'd be surprised, right? I mean, I'd be surprised if they lost, but I think I'd be more surprised if Wilson didn't go off, especially since she had, 16 points in game 1. She didn't play well.
Yeah, they could still lose. You're right, Scott. She could drop 33 and they could still lose. I could see that happening.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the, is Indiana better without Caitlin Clark stories to start coming out? If they actually win this champ, and it's not just her. They got 3 other regulars. They got 3 other regulars that are out as well.
The BB, there's the Dantas. Yeah, they're all out. Like, everybody's crazy. Out. The Colston or the Clausen, whatever. They're missing like 5 players. But I'll tell you what, like Caitlin Clark comes back, like, what do you do with Kelsey Mitchell?
Yeah,
she's scoring 26 points a game in the playoffs, Scott. 26 points a game. She can't be stopped.
Amazing. Yeah, why we put her on our list. It's amazing. At all the baseball games, Gabe, I'm going to start with, believe it or not, Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Why? Because crazy as it sounds, right? Well, why? Why the hell are you doing that, right?
There's the Guardians playing for the division.
Yeah, the Red Sox.
The Reds playoffs, hopes are on the line, and they're losing to the Pirates. But why? What about the Tampa-Baltimore game?
Orioles have had 12 straight unders at home. They're like the number 1 or 2 under team in all of baseball. 12 in a row, and Yeah, 2-0 only, third inning, and they're still giving you. I wanted to get it out there right away because they're still giving you 7.5 for a game that's 2-0. Started at 8.5. It's not it's not the 8.5 it was, but that's
a good trend though, Scott. That no one's going to talk about or notice. No one's paying attention to the Baltimore Orioles now, let alone the total.
Yeah. All right, the game live continues. George Kurtz coming up next.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think he's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe. Little baseball as we wind down the regular season. Plenty of playoff spots up for grabs and positioning. Let's talk a little baseball with a good buddy, Sports Grid host. You see it here all the time here on the Grid, Mr. George Kurtz. What's going on, George? How are you tonight, bud?
I'm doing well, Does anybody want this last wild card spot in the National League? Anybody at all? All right. I mean, this was weird. Everyone's collapsing here. Mets fans have got to be flipping out here. Another poor start here. Peterson's gone, down 5-1. I don't know why I'm smiling. I have nothing against the Mets. I just find it funny that they're collapsing.
And the Reds are losing too tonight.
Yeah.
You said, the door's open for Arizona, right? Tough spot against the Dodgers and Ohtani, but
Arizona needs
crazy as that.
They're not going to get a sweep. Beating Ohtani tonight's not going to be easy. I kind of think the Dodgers win this. I think it's the one game I kind of really like the Dodgers tonight. Ohtani generally pitches very well. I know Fat's been okay. He's been solid. And the Dodgers offense can be crazy.
Ohtani had a no-hitter in the 5th of his last start again, which has been a couple of times. He's good. He's in a zone right now. George, I don't know if you care about sort of the symbolic numbers. Me and Scott do. The anniversaries, the milestones. And tonight it's his 100th career start. And he's looking for his 40th. Yeah, he's looking for his 40th win tonight. So little bit, and they're looking for a division title. Let's be real. They're only, they want to wrap this up. They can wrap this up by tomorrow. The Dodgers would like nothing better to wrap this up and not have to worry about the weekend games. Even for their pitching, they can set everything up, right?
Right, of course. And they did announce today that Ohtani will be in the rotation, not the bullpen.
We can start Kiki Hernandez this weekend.
Ohtani was never going to be in the bullpen for the playoffs. How is that going to work? He's going to go out. It was never going to work. So he'll be in the rotation there, which we all figured here. And that's going to be the Dodgers' strength, by the way, which is another reason why they want to get this over with, right? Because you got to set that bullpen up the way you want it. Those relievers need as much rest as possible. So, yeah, if you can clinch as early as tomorrow, Thursday at the latest, all the better for the Dodgers. Because it's going to be that starting rotation. Snell, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glasnow. Those guys got to carry this team. If they're tied 2-2 in the 7th inning, I'm going to be having a lot of in-game bets against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and
it'll be Clayton Kershaw
to win. Yeah,
and other starters.
Yeah,
like Dave Roberts basically said today, like about Blake training. Like he said, "Wow, we'll see about the playoff roster." He was saying no.
yeah.
Like
nice play.
The Dodgers are pretty cold.
Like,
yeah. Like the Dodgers are pretty cold though. Looked like they threw Dustin May, a longtime Dodger, under the bus. God, bye. Walker Buehler, bye. They're pretty cold. And another thing is, you know it, George and Scott, the Dodgers and Dave Roberts, they will use their starting pitchers as relievers in the playoffs, point blank. And I expect to see that a lot this year from them.
Listen, the secret weapon could be Sasaki, right? They're going to activate him tomorrow, and he's going to pitch out of the bullpen. So we'll see if he can handle it. Interesting for a guy who hasn't pitched, I think, since May 9th there. So it'll be interesting to see what he can handle there. But he could be a secret weapon if he's throwing a ball 101 for one inning, 2 innings, or even a little further than that. He could make things very interesting there.
All right, you look at the board of the games that are in progress. Tigers losing again, George, with Skubal on the hill, 3-2. Bottom 7, so they have 2 at-bats at Cleveland. This is a huge game. You get the Tigers plus 340. I mentioned the Reds are losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have 3 at-bats left, top of the 7th, 4-2 there. You get the Reds at 285. And any interest in any one of those teams or any of the other games that are underway?
Listen, I don't think taking the Reds is a bad idea. All right, it's an important game for them. I know Singer gave up 4 runs early here. Then they got a 2-run homer back from De La Cruz here, but nothing since. Kind of a surprise that not more runs going there. But getting almost 3-1, I might take a shot on the Reds. I don't have anything in this game pregame for whatever reason. I didn't feel great about it. Although I did think about taking the Reds, but I don't mind taking the 3-1 shot with Cincinnati there. Detroit, I'm on the under pregame. That's what I took there. I really thought Detroit would win. The only reason I didn't bet Detroit, well, you've lost 1,000 games in a row. And you know my theory about streaks. I didn't bet against Detroit because it was Skubal. And he pitched well, but he blew a 2-0 lead. I just gave it 3 runs last inning here. So, man, things are just not going well for Detroit at all.
No, and I just saw the highlights of how it happened. Like, pass balls, bad defense, just sort of wheels falling off type of stuff, Scott. You know what I mean? When things start to go bad. Like, you know what I mean? They didn't get hits. Right. It was like, the catcher, the ball rolled towards the dugout. Like, the Guardian scored. Like, it was just one of those. And you can see the Tigers melting down in Cleveland. Dude, this Guardian team's unbelievable. They just battled and hung and just, kept playing and never quit. So, we got a 3-2 game there. Kurtz, I kid about you being Captain Chalk. I'm Captain Chalk tonight, and how the hell are the Seattle Mariners not like minus 500 favorites? Like, it almost feels like too good to be true, like we're getting hustled. Minus 135 on the run line only.
Bryce Miller hasn't been great, so maybe that's the reason why here. But
have you seen McCade Brown pitch?
Well, and I don't need to see anybody in Colorado. We know they suck. All right, so they can hit a little bit, right? Goodman, Doyle, Moniak, they're decent hitters, I guess.
I know, they're only averaging 3 runs a game, though, in the past week, though. Their bats have cooled off a bit.
It's also in Seattle, which generally, it's definitely more of a pitcher's haven there. I'm on Seattle as well. All right, I agree with you. It's a weird spot there, and Seattle still has something to play for. Are they going with the letdown theory here? They swept Houston, but that was 2 days ago. This was last night. Okay, the night after maybe is a letdown, not 2 days later. So, I think the Mariners. Listen, I've been on the Mariners since the trade deadline. I still think they're the best team in the American League. I think they're a team to beat, although I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Brian Wu, who's being backed up. He's not going to start Thursday. He's got, I believe, the lat injury. We'll see what's up with him.
No love for the Blue Jays? I know you're a Yankee fan. What about you, Scott? You're a Red Sox fan. Like, wouldn't you say the Blue Jays are a legitimate threat? Because I think they are. I think Seattle are, but the Blue Jays are a dangerous team.
Yeah, I think the Blues are probably the second best team. My thing with Seattle is they have no obvious weakness. They have a better starting staff than the Jays. Jays offense, I would say, is better, but not immensely better. And the Mariners might have the best bullpen in the American League. So that just puts them ahead there. The Jays, I think, are the second best team. They're not playing very well of late, not playing all that great tonight either. They're still 1-1 here in the fifth. Toronto's okay. The Yankees aren't going to catch it. Toronto plays the Rays over the weekend. So even if they fall flat here, they'll be all right. They have the tiebreaker over the Yankees. Boston can be in a lot of trouble, by the way. If they do not play well against Toronto, they've got Detroit over the weekend. Somebody has to win those games. So one of those teams could be going bye-bye.
Yeah. Are you, as a Red Sox fan, I'm curious to know from Yankee fans, are you rooting for the Red Sox in this series? Because if you are, then the Yankees can maybe catch Toronto. But then, if you falter against the White Sox, obviously the Red Sox could catch the Yankees for the number 2 wild card spot, which is home field advantage, which is key. So as a Yankee fan, who are you kind of rooting for in this series, Red Sox, Toronto?
Well, it depends are you asking me as a fan? As a gambler? My money's on Toronto.
No, fan.
My money's on Toronto tonight. All right. I bet Gossman, and he's the starter on my fantasy team as well tonight. So I want Toronto to win tonight. I want Gossman to get the win. But as a fan, sure, I'm rooting for Boston, of course. If they can get 2 out of 3 here and the Yankees can sweep the Chicago White Sox, hey, we're tied. We'll see what happens here. Yankees play Baltimore over the weekend. I said Toronto's got the Rays. So I don't think they're in trouble here. But of course, as a fan, I want Boston. But as my money is on Toronto tonight, and my money generally wins over my fandom. So go Jays.
Toronto are tightening up, Scott.
Tiebreaker over the Yankees, too.
Down the stretch. They're like, guys, the Blue Jays are like a marathon runner who kind of have a big lead, but everyone's sort of catching up to them, and they're slowing down now down the stretch. Like, they haven't been able to, finish it off. Like, they've had injuries, too. And let's be real. I want to talk about it, actually, because I'm not for robot umps, but it's coming, right? They announced it next year, so we're going to have this new system. But these umps are so bad, it's hard to defend them. I mean, the Blue Jays should be up right now, guys. Their bases a little lower loaded. Springer hit one down the line. It would have scored 2 runs, maybe 3. They said foul ball. Like really? I mean, foul ball. It wasn't even hard to tell that it wasn't foul. Then a bad strike 3 call on the next pitch after. I mean, the Jays have gotten screwed tonight.
Talk with George Kurtz. More from George from Baseball Talk when we come back.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right. It's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think they're going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe talking with George Kurtz, our good buddy here from SportsGrid. A little baseball talk. Guardians tacked on another run, now 5-2 over Detroit. Still batting bottom of the seventh inning. Yankees gave up the lead, so pretty good betting opportunity there, George. If you want to hop on your Yankee team, down 2-1, top of the sixth inning, and it's Pick'em, minus 104. That's not bad. White Sox have a run on first base, top of the sixth inning. But with one out, but that's not. I mean, are they really going to lose to the White Sox at home? I mean, I wouldn't think so. But and then Baltimore 3-0 now over Tampa Bay. We're riding the under 12 straight home games for the Baltimore Orioles. George, who would have thunk that little streak play there? Any interest in those, or do you want to go back to the games that have yet to get underway?
I'm on the Yankees pretty. I think I'm on them on the run line. I have them in a parlay as well. Though now having trouble remembering who I have them in a parlay. We have somebody later on tonight. I don't think it was Seattle though, but probably what I should have. But I'm on the Yankees parlay there. So I thought the Yankees would be hitterish tonight. It's a warm night here in New York. Here, yeah. It was a beautiful day here, but Yankees haven't hit at all. I shouldn't say that. In the first 3 innings, they had 17 guys on base. They couldn't drive anybody in, so they couldn't hit with anybody on base here. Baltimore, now I left that game alone here. I didn't like the slate tonight. I mean, I didn't think it was anything that really stood out other than the Seattle. Really? Like, oh, we got to hit this. I didn't like the slate tonight at all. I thought it was just
pretty glamorous. Pretty glamorous slate tonight with all these big, high-profile games.
Well,
we even have more of them coming up.
I thought it was close. They're more 50-50. Nothing that was obvious for me to hit.
I like this right now, and I know it can change, but looking at the postseason picture, guys, like who plays who right now. The Los Angeles Dodgers would play the Cincinnati Reds, with the winner playing the Philadelphia Phillies. It would be San Diego versus the Cubs, with the winner playing the Brewers. And in the American League, as you guys have talked about, we've talked about, Scott, for the last couple of weeks, baseball would love nothing better to get the Yankees and the Red Sox in the playoffs again. And they would actually play the winner of the Toronto Blue Jays if things finish the way that they do right now. And in Seattle, Cleveland and Detroit would play each other in the playoffs again if things remain the way that they did right now. And it probably does, right, if they just sort of switch spots even, in which Cleveland becomes. But who do you think, Scott, when you look at the path? Because I'm not a fan of it from a Dodger perspective that they have to play the Phillies, right? No disrespect to the Reds, but I'm like, okay, so you play the Reds and then you get the Phillies after. But the way I look at it is, all right, you probably would have to play the Phillies in the championship series after. Like, I'd rather play Milwaukee, but it looks like the Dodgers and the Phillies, man, that could be a hell of a series on a collision course.
Yeah. The first round for the Dodgers would be somewhat easy, but then the second round stinks. Although I don't think even the Mets, if they were to sneak in, George, do you really want to face the Mets and all that money? Or it still could be Arizona only a game back. Probably the Mets don't hold tiebreakers against anybody. They would
with the Mets, Scott, you would have to score runs. Their pitching is flaky, so you'd find yourself even last year, right? The Mets and Dodgers. Vientos is hitting grand slams. There were a lot of runs in that series last year. It was like a slugfest.
Milwaukee guys would really, we doubt the Brewers, right? And I certainly do as well. But they
would love
have
their
the
path.
Easiest path. Yeah, at home against either San Diego or the Cubs. Does anybody really believe in the Cubs? No. Padres are a nice little team, but they just never seem to get over that hump. So, yeah, I think Milwaukee would have the easiest path in the National League.
Yeah, it's funny, and then we probably haven't given the Brewers their just due all season long, but I don't think anybody looks at them like, oh, Milwaukee, I don't think we can beat them, right? You got Peralta, great, but after that, hey, you think you can take on their pitching staff, right?
Whoever they play, guys, I'll bet against Milwaukee.
So will I.
Point blank.
Because
they'll be underdogs, exactly, right? They'll be underdogs, and we don't think they're going to the World Series, so we bet against them in the first round. If they win, we bet against them in the second round.
And no Woodruff, right? We don't know when Brandon Woodruff's coming back. He was just put on the IL a couple of days ago. Is he going to be okay for game one? I have my doubts. Yeah, they said, well, he's got the side injury too, or oblique, whatever it might be. So that's a huge loss, and he was pitching great. Now they are a baseball team. They actually play baseball, hit and run, hit the ball the other way. They don't hit a lot of home runs. So they play the game the way I guess it should be played, or it used to be played. So I think that's to their advantage, especially in the playoffs where home runs, a little tougher to hit against good pitching here. But I'm with Gabe here. I'll be betting against them. I've been betting against them most of the year anyway. Why should I stop now?
You know what? That's one of those where somebody has to win. Like the Cubs are perennial losers. The Padres never win, and then you got the Brewers. I mean, it's one of those three.
Which is a great rivalry, Scott. Too. Like we talk about Boston.
Cubs, yeah.
Oh yeah. Like Boston, New York, great rivalry. Toronto's in Canada, so it doesn't get discussed as much. But people in Toronto hate the Red Sox and they hate the Yankees. So like either way, it's going to be massive for in Toronto. And, like a potential LA San Diego collision later. But as we were saying, Scott, those, the Cubs and the Brewers, I mean, geographically as close as you can get. Yeah. I mean, they really don't like each other.
Yeah. Milwaukee's closer to Chicago than St. Louis is. So that gives you an idea.
That's why Milwaukee doesn't have an NHL team. Because Milwaukee should have an NHL team. Like, they love hockey in the state of Wisconsin. The NCAA hockey is big there. The Wirtz family and the Blackhawks, like it's like a non-starter. They always shut it down.
They have the rights. They got the territorial rights.
But the thing is, it's not within. Like it's past the legal rights. But they've been in the league so long, they have other owners that won't push them on it. Like you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. Which is stupid. So
it's like Hamilton, Ontario, and Canada could easily support an NHL team. Remember, they wanted to do it. They were going to do it. The Buffalo Sabres flipped out. Because they have a ton of fans that come from Hamilton and that area. Right. They were like, it'll crush us if you do this, like point blank. The Leafs didn't like it, but the Leafs are like, yeah, whatever. We're the Leafs, like whatever. Like, you know what I mean? But the Sabres were really against it. There's enough idiot Leaf fans, George, that'll support them anyways.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in Milwaukee is a Blackhawks fan. All right, I mean, they would never cross those lines.
They hate that city, right? Like,
Packers and the Cubs and
the Bulls and the Bucks, like the Bears and the Packers.
Yeah, there's no way.
It'd be a great rivalry, though, wouldn't it? Milwaukee hockey. It makes more sense than Houston and Atlanta and these stupid places or Utah that they put teams in.
Yeah,
they don't like putting teams where it snows, guys, and there's ice. He's like, is it warm there? Is it cold there? No, we can't put a hockey team in a cold city. We got to go to somewhere warm.
Yeah, so let's go put one in Orlando instead. George, good job, man. Appreciate it.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think he's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, The only thing that I would say the caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks for George Kurtz joining us there for a couple of moments, as he always does. Time for our best play, Black Cloud Play of the Day. Nice little 23 games over 500, and we're going to use the WNBA game later on. Gabe and I talked about it earlier. We'll use Phoenix's, or Indiana's rather, Kelsey Mitchell. We talked about over 20.5 points. She's averaged 21 plus since Caitlin Clark has gotten hurt and missed the last 22 games of the regular season. She scored 26 in the last game. She's scored 22 or more in 3 of the 4 playoff games. She's the number 1 scorer now in Indiana. So I know it's against the zigzag. Indiana pulls off the upset win in game 1. Tough to duplicate that. Las Vegas, theoretically the better team, desperation spot. But, Las Vegas may win, but I still think Mitchell gets over 20.5 points, 21 points. So love this one. I don't see how this one doesn't hit. She's been on fire and has been really for 2 months here. So over 20.5 points, Indiana's Kelsey Mitchell game.
She really has just been electric, especially in the playoffs. She carried them into the playoffs. Aaliyah Boston, not a glamorous player. She doesn't get the credit that she deserves, right? She's going to give you a 15 and 8 type of night type of deal. Like, Angel Reese does less and got a shoe deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like Aaliyah Boston, I'm just saying, like from a numbers perspective, like Aaliyah Boston is a baller. That's the one thing, like, you had a young players. Caitlin Clark, as popular as she is, like you said, Scott, Caitlin Clark scores like 17 points a game. Kelsey Mitchell can give you 26, right? Like there's just a different level to this. So I like where you're going with this. The one game that she didn't go off in the playoffs, she scored 19 points and they won by 17. She only played 29 minutes. They wisely rested her. If you look at the other games, 34 minutes, 35 minutes, 33 minutes out of the 40. So she only played 29 in that game. The other games got 27 points, 24 points, 34 points. So I like her points. I like your bet, and I like my bet with her over 2.5 3-point shots made in the playoffs. 4 for 6, 3 for 6, 4 for 8, 1 for 4. So, and then when you want to go deeper in the regular season, 4 for 5, etc. But let's talk about the playoffs right now. So yeah, she had 1 for 4 game. But anytime, and we all know this, guys, when you're betting a 3-point prop, it's not so much about, he or she hit like this many in a row. It's the attempt, Scott, right? Do they get shots? Like, do they take shots? And yes, she takes shots. 6 shots, 8 shots, 4 shots in a game 1 that they got beat up against Atlanta in the playoffs. Their one bad game, and the whole team played bad. So I know she's going to take 5, 6, 7, 8 3-pointers tonight. And I know she's smoking hot. She's hitting like 49% from 3 in the playoffs. Give me over 2.5 3-point shots made for Mitchell, and I'll ride Scott. I like Scott's play with her over prop at 20.5 as well.
Yeah. Speaking of smoking hot and props, 2 of the best things you could ever find, right? Prop plays, which are great, and then Paige Sporadic, who's pretty hot, right? So some genius around here said, hey, why don't we combine the 2 and have Paige do a prop little prop show. So we Prop Star in Gimme Prop series starts tonight here on SportsGrid right after Gabe and our show at 10 o'clock Eastern time. She's no stranger, obviously. If you've not seen Paige Sporadic, then I don't know where you've been. She was in Happy Gilmore 2, by the way, and she's taken things to the next level. As good as the first level is, as you see on some of the highlights there, she's going to the next level. A whole new show here. Think bikini, tub of ice, golf ball washer, poker chips, plexiglass table, red Solo cup, and a championship belt, and throw in everything else you could think of.
She gets challenged to do things. So
Yes.
essentially, so she gets crazy, crazy thing. So yeah, it should be must see TV tonight. Listen, if we got some reason to keep it locked in the grid after our show, this is a damn good one right
This
there.
is it. This is pretty good, yes. So a little page sporadic, more of her is better here on the grid. So WNBA, we'll go back to that for a second here. 62-54, Minnesota leading Phoenix, siding with the under. Not great, but 154.5. Did like the under to start the game, and then Minnesota, which is trying for a 2-0 series lead, laying 9.5 now, up 8 against Phoenix heading into the fourth quarter.
They're going to win the title.
So
Minnesota's going to win the title. They were favorites for a reason. Odds makers were right.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know what the odds will be, Gabe, if they have to face Indiana. As good a story as Indiana is, if it's Minnesota, Indiana,
they'll be getting 12
it's going to be like
instead of 9.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. It will. All right, hour number 2 coming up next in Game Live.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. Rob Donaldson, UnderdogFantasy.com, will join us in about a half hour or so. We'll do some baseball, maybe some football talk with him. We got WNBA playoffs. We got some baseball playoffs. And we do have some college football news, that little Heisman Trophy shift and Oklahoma. Boy, I tell you what, as good as this weekend seemingly was for the Sooners, it hit a kerplunk, that is for sure. So we'll get to it all over the next 60 minutes or so, Gabe. So got a couple of games here starting baseball-wise. Let's throw those out there just to let people get in on our picks. Actually, you know what? We don't. We got about a half hour or so. I thought there were a couple of 9 o'clock games. Texas is losing again. I'll start there. Mets are losing again. Reds are losing. And it's 3-0 Baltimore over Tampa Bay. All the dopey games out there, Gabe. I'm got my eye pierced to this Baltimore Tampa Bay as we're going for our 13th straight under. Oh, the Mets just tied it. How about that?
The Mets come back
against the Cubbies. They
so
were
we've got
big,
drama.
5-1.
And the Red Sox have just broken the game open and taken a 4-1 lead as we speak on the Toronto Blue Jays. And like I said earlier, the bases were loaded. Springer ripped one down the line. They called it foul. It was clearly fair. Then the next pitch, they called it strike, and he struck out, and it was clearly like outside. He lost it, and the Jays have sort of been upset. Like Schneider's been trying to keep him calm in the dugout. Like Springer's lucky he didn't hurt himself, actually, because he had one of those dugout type of meltdowns where he started smashing things, and like he was really losing it. And now the game gets broken open. Man, this Blue Jay team stumbling to the finish line right now.
Yeah, I mean, they do hold the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Yanks. So it says 2 in the standings, but in reality it's 3. That's huge with 6 games left. So, and the Yankees are losing, but let's just say,
got to squeeze out 2 wins, basically. Like I saw it earlier in the week. It's not pretty, but if the Jays go 2-4, like the Yankees would need to go 6-0, and the Jays would need to go 1-5 type of stuff for a complete meltdown.
Right. It would really,
so they
either
won't,
way, they're
like
in the
you said,
postseason.
they won't. But they're sort of, like I said, it ain't pretty. And every Met game, it doesn't matter who they play, man. It's almost automatic. We should just bet on the in-game overs, and whoever's losing, just take the underdog. If the Mets are winning 5-1, they'll blow the lead. If they're losing 5-1, they're capable of coming back and then still losing the game. Like, I think the Cubs will probably still win the game, Scott, even though it's 6-6 right now.
And
the Cubs are minus 165.
Yeah, and how many times have we made this same bet over the last week and a half or so? It's 6-6.
Yeah, the totals just keep going up. Yeah, they score more and more.
And it's 15 and a half, and they're only in the 5th inning. So, I mean, obviously, someone's going to win, so you're guaranteed at least 13 runs. To think you're not going to get 4 more runs with this Mets bullpen, and you got, half of the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, you got 3.5 innings, and they're giving you plus 108, too. I'd be surprised if we didn't get to 16 runs.
How about the Yankees, too? The Yankees are losing. Like, they're losing to the White Sox. Like, you imagine if the Red Sox win, the Blue Jays lose tonight, obviously, because they're playing the Red Sox. Man, forget about Yankee fan and WFAN caller. Like, Yankee players will be like, God, what just happened tonight? Yeah. Like, these are big games, Scott, like in big swings, right? Like, if you have a night where the Blue Jays lose and then you lose to the White Sox, that's going to be a frustrating experience. Yeah.
At home, no less.
Do they come back? They're minus 105, though, right now. So it's the bottom of the 7th. We got 3 cracks at this. It's against the White Sox.
I know. That's a pretty good bet. I mean, because all you need to do is tie the game.
You hate the Yankees, and we have to bet this.
Yeah. You tie the game, and they'll be a minus 175 favorite. They will. So you don't even need them to get 2 runs, just 1 run. And
the White
Sox
now?
bullpen all of a sudden,
just moved to 1 plus 120.
Yeah, I got 112 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so it's popping up with each out here, but still, like the Yankees have 8 outs to give here, guys. You got to believe they're going to be able to tie this game, like in the next 8 at bats.
Yeah,
somebody will hit a home run.
So. I tell you, if you're into
because that's all they do. That's all they do. So it's like somebody better hit a home run.
Yeah, whether it's Grisham or Judge or say somebody, right? Stanton when he's healthy. So Texas losing again. Man,
that's just been a collapse.
Falling off for the right. Just 7 straight. They were on fire, and they've lost
never. They never
7
strung it together though. They've won. You know what I mean? All year, Scott. They would win 6 in a row and then lose 6 in a row type stuff. Like they never were consistently good. They'd be good for a month, bad for a month. Good for 2 weeks, bad for 2 weeks. Like they really were. It was really a Jekyll and Hyde season for the Texas Rangers this year. And a wasted year when you consider Jacob deGrom stayed healthy for them.
Right. And no one ran away in the AL West. The West was basically wide open this year.
And they spent like $240 million. Like they're like the 4th highest paid team in the league. So there's a lot of we talked about it the other day. No one's going to cry for the Texas Rangers ownership group. But if you think about it, Scott, as we talk about, you literally have like the 5th highest payroll in baseball type of deal. It's like the Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Blue Jays. The Yankees are like 6th or 7th. But like I said, nevertheless, the Rangers are like top 5 spending. They draw less fans, Scott. Like if you're the ownership, like what did you get out of this? We didn't even make the playoffs, and we drew less fans than the Colorado Rockies. What am I spending all this money for?
Rockies, by the way, I know we talk about this all the time, but I just want to throw it out there. Rockies drew 45,000 over the weekend for fireworks night. Listen, I can go in my backyard and get fireworks, right? I don't need to go to a ball game, pay $30 to park and whatever for a hot dog.
Is it time to call Denver the best damn sports city in America, Scott? I think we have to.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Imagine if the Rockies were as bad as they were in New York or in Toronto or like, hell, man, people in Vancouver, the Canucks lose 2 games. People start throwing jerseys on the ice. Like they, you know what I mean? Oh, I don't want to say I'm canceling my season tickets. Like it's like a constant drama and panic. Yet here are the Colorado Rockies, who are the worst team, like literally like the second worst team in the history of baseball. Like they narrowly avoided being the worst team ever by like a week. Like if there was another week in the season, they'd be the worst team in the history of baseball. They got that extra win, fine. And they got 45,000, Scott. Like, is the park that nice there? Like, what the hell is going on? Are they giving free lap dances in the bathroom stalls and we don't know about it? Like, what's going on in that stadium? That people are going there as much as they are.
Paige Sporanic making public appearances there. You know, are
the ball girls naked? I mean, what's going on? Like, what are we missing?
The Savannah Bananas don't even draw that, right? They're out drawing the bananas, for goodness sake.
But I tell you what, Colorado, you're bringing on your own crapness because the owner has zero reason to get better. Why?
Yeah.
How many more tickets is he going to sell? Another 7,000? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's got the TV money coming in. He's got the revenue sharing. He cries poor. The rich teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees have to cut him a check. And then he gets 45,000 people a game. And he's averaging over 30,000 a game, 32,000 a game. It's ridiculous.
Amazing. It really is. All right, I'm going to go one last time on the Texas. This will be my final play of the Texas Rangers. I had them to go
of the season.
Of the year.
This is it.
Of the season. This is it. I had them going to the World Series,
it's
losing to the
fourth
Dodgers.
Inning. We're going to the fourth.
Last one. We're going to fourth. I'm getting plus 112 down 2-1. Last chance. So
wow, I see a plus 135.
Do you really?
Different
numbers.
Let
me hit my refresh here.
Yeah, hit refresh. I got a plus 135.
112. Yeah, I got plus 112 on FanDuel. Figures. They knew I was going to bet it, I guess. It's over in Cleveland. Guardians win 5-2. When we come back, Gabe and I will run down some of the numbers that I'm going to give you when we come back about this collapse game is just mind-boggling. I mean, just like crazy how bad the Tigers have played and how good the Guards have played when we return.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Like, because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And like, some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. Like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. Like, that's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, Can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion? And he did.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. Looking at some baseball. So Cleveland just finished off a 5-2 win game over Detroit. Both teams now are 85-72. The complete collapse continues here. Just to give you an idea, MLB did a pretty good job today of running down some of the scenarios and what Cleveland is accomplishing, at the expense of the Detroit Tigers, right? So Tigers are 7-19 their last 26 games, including 1-10 their last 11, including 7 in a row. Their record since July 9th is the 4th worst in baseball. Only Colorado, Minnesota, and the Angels have a worse record than the Detroit Tigers since July 9th. All right? To put it all into perspective, they had an 11-game lead on the Guardians September 5th. 18 days ago, they have lost an 11-game lead in 18 days, which I'm guessing there's got to be a day off in there, is either 16 or maybe 17 games. I mean, that would be the largest deficit any team has overcome to win its division. Now, Cleveland hasn't won its division yet, but they're tied. That would be the largest deficit in the history of baseball. They would become the Guardians, the 5th team to make the playoffs, being that far under 500. They were, where were they? They were 11 games under 500 earlier this season. And they trailed by 11 September 5th. So it's mind-boggling. They got the best ERA in the month of September due to the Guardians, 2.32. And the Tigers are falling apart. So can you imagine that? 18 days ago, this team was 11 out. Nobody in their right mind would ever think they would be able to make that up. And here they are, tied for first place. Crazy.
Yeah, it's been a real collapse for them. Well, they didn't do anything at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. They've been very passive. Another ownership group that's kind of wasting the talent that they have. I mean, this division was obviously winnable for them, but the collapse is real at this rate. I mean, they could actually just end up missing the playoffs completely, right? I mean, Are they going to, it's almost like the famous Mike Ditka. I don't know if we're going to win another game this year because it's clearly in their heads right now, right? The base running errors, the defensive errors, suddenly nobody is hitting, right? It's just a complete collapse. The question is, can anybody else take advantage of it? And this opens up the door for the Houston Astros tonight, right? The scoreboard watching is real in Major League Baseball clubhouses at this time of the year. And the Astros know, all right, the Tigers lose again, we can win this baseball game. And they pull for Cleveland to win the division, and they continue this Detroit Tiger collapse. So it's going to be a wild weekend, man. This is what baseball wanted by putting 1 million teams into the playoffs, so they got what they wanted. They want markets to be interested into the final week of the season, even if they're not very good teams. I mean, let's be real. The Reds are in the playoffs right now. They're 4 games over 500.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what are we doing here, right? But it is what it is, and it is entertaining. I mean, look at the D-backs, Scott. They're 79-77, and they're a game out of the playoff spot.
Yeah. It's nuts, but that's like you said. That's what they wanted. So whether you like it or not, they accomplished their goal. You can hate it, and I don't like it. I think there are too many teams in the postseason. But at least, admittedly, they did accomplish what they wanted, and that is to have all these teams and their fan bases, more importantly, still want to go to the ballpark in September. School's back in session.
Yeah, but they don't go, and they go to Colorado games. But a lot of these teams are not drawing.
But they don't go.
They're not drawing great. The Dodgers do, and there's a few teams that do. But so yes and no, they get what they want. But hey, listen, it is competitive, and it is going to be a interesting final weekend. Like a lot of times, everybody sort of pays attention to football all weekend, and baseball takes a back seat. But this is going to be a weekend where people will still have their eye on what's going on the diamond.
Do you believe in, and I don't know if I do or I don't, would this give you, knowing that Detroit lost, and now they're a half a game in front of Houston, does this give the Astros any more incentive to win tonight? Like, would you now bet Houston saying, all right, you know what, geez, the Astros lost, and now we can move into right?
No.
I don't either. I really don't. It's not like they weren't going to try and win.
I already liked them. And I'm a big believer, Scott, of the fact that if you need a game this late in the season to make the playoffs, you're just an average team.
Right.
You are. Because if you were a really good team, you'd already be locked up, right? The Dodgers are a really good team. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs, The Philadelphia Phillies are a really good team. The Astros can be a good team, but they're inconsistent. That's why they are where they are. So, no. That's like, Scott, you don't think like 2 games ago they saw someone lose and they tried to win? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so what's different about tonight? But the reality is there. So I'm not talking so much of, the Astro players are extra fired up now in the clubhouse. But the reality is there that if they win the baseball game, suddenly they're in the playoff spot suddenly. So it is a massive game for them.
They can't win this series. Boy, especially after losing 5 in a row to the A's.
Then they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
simple as that.
Right? Ultimately, like you don't have an axe to grind if you're a Met fan. You're a Giants falling apart completely. Man, the Giants were right freaking there. They were right there.
They ran out of pitchers on that 1 week. That one week, they were playing so good. It was the Dodger series that killed them. They went 1-2 against the Dodgers. They started all their best pitchers trying to beat the Dodgers. Remember, they started moving guys around, and they only won 1-2. It didn't work out, and then they were screwed. They played Arizona after, and they literally were in the bullpen for like the first 2 games. They got lit up, and suddenly Arizona became them, and Cincinnati stole their spot.
Yeah. So, Lynx lead Phoenix 77-72. Minute 55 left. So
Mercury battling back.
Yeah, close game.
And low scoring game.
Low scoring and another underdog, right? I mean, it's not over. 5 points with 2 minutes left, but another non-blowout game. Like, you got to go back to like the opening day game of the postseason. I think the last time we had
those were the only blowouts. The Lynx blew out the Storm. Yeah, the Lynx blew out the Storm, and the Aces blew out who they played. Whatever. So like there was like 2 32-point wins or whatever like that. And since then, every game has been close.
Yeah,
for every team pretty much.
Yeah, crazy. Home court means nothing in the WNBA playoffs. All right,
and the crowd is crazy loud too.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think he's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So, I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So, I am going to... buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe checking out all the action, including a little preseason hockey. We'll tell you 47 seconds left, still 77-74. Minnesota up 3. Over-under is down to 154.5, and they're laying 4.5. We got that bet in. We got the Indiana Fever in Las Vegas. Ace is starting in about 10 minutes or so. And Gabe, congratulations, delved into a little preseason hockey, which I generally do like a ceremonial, ode to you. Okay, you're starting the preseason. I'll bet one time. But it happened over the weekend. I kind of lost track of it. So I didn't do it yet. But you did tonight. You played a little system, little Wetzel system. I'm proud of you. I really am. You played every single
11
game.
games.
So
11 games. I got 11 hockey bets.
How did it turn out?
So my deal was, listen, it was 13-7 to the under through 20 games, and I used 5.5 goals as a barometer. So it was 13 of the games were 5 goals or less. But tonight there were 11 games, and 6 of the games had totals of 6.5 tonight. So I figured, you know what? And there were a couple of teams playing on back-to-backs. We had a couple of, regular starting goalies. It'll be starters. Like Markstrom started tonight. He's a highly paid, starting goalie in the NHL for the Devils. And the Devils roll tonight, actually, winning 6-2. We lost that one. The total was 6.5 there. But we're in the mix here, Scott. There were 6 games that started early tonight, and there's 5 sort of that, in the Texas areas and the West Coast type stuff and, Canadian West Coast. So far, there's 2 that have gone over, that are over so far. So I got 2 automatic losses, but we got 6 minutes left. I don't like seeing there was just a goal scored in one of these games, but we got a 2-1 game. We got a couple of 2-1 games here. The late games are going pretty well. We got 4 minutes left in the second period. The Oilers and Jets are tied at 1. We got 5 minutes left in the second period. The Wild and Stars, it's 1-0. 9 minutes in the second period. Predators up 2-0. And the Kraken and Flames are tied at 1 early. I'm not a fan of seeing the early goals there. So I did get plus money on basically 6 or 7 of them. Because the 5.5s were all plus money, and even a couple of 6.5 were plus money tonight. So we'll see what I do unit-wise. I'm hoping to at least go 6-5, right? It looks like we could have a 3-3 early start to this, but we're doing better with the late game so far. So we'll keep our eye on this.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could survive the early games, the late games look pretty good. Buffalo's got it's 2-1, 30 seconds left, so that looks pretty good. But whether it's 2-0 Nashville, Tampa Bay, late second period, or the 1-1 Seattle, Calgary's a little
Minnesota 1-0, 4 minutes in the
Dallas.
Second period. Yeah, they're not tracking. Yeah, they're on pace to unless something crazy happens.
Now you're going to do. Now let's say we'll play devil's advocate. You go 11 games. Let's say you go 6-5, 7-4 even. You got to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll ride this.
Good for you. Good for you.
You know what's ironic? Why not? The preseason just started. Let's see how far we can take it, right?
Yeah.
But you know what's ironic? I was more intrigued by the 6.5 games. The 2 6.5s have lost. There was a 6.5 in the Devils Islander game, and I didn't really understand it. I'm like, Markstrom is starting. I think the Devils will win. I should have played the Devils, but I think the Devils are going to win. But I don't think the Islanders are going to score that much. But I didn't count on the Devils scoring 6 goals. Like, the Islanders are bad.
Yeah.
Like, they had the number 1 pick in the draft for a reason. They're not a very good team. And hockey, having a number 1 pick is not the NBA. It does absolutely nothing for you. You need like 7 number 1 picks to make a difference.
Right. Was the other 6.5 Rangers Bruins? That's 4-3. I don't know what we're going to get out of my Bruins team this year.
Well, with the Bruins, Scott, people have totally written them off.
Yeah.
Totally written them off. That might be a time to sort of buy in for them. Swayman's got to be a lot better this year. Right? You paid him big money.
Be worse.
He's shown he's shown the capability of being an elite goaltender. The thing with the Bruins, they're poorly managed. They don't want to pay players. They're cheap. Right? Let's just call it out. Like, how did you let Marchand go? I mean, he should have retired a Bruin, right? Yeah. It's just sort of like this. They're a lot like the Red Sox, Scott. You know what I mean? They alienate players.
Yeah.
The players, agents don't like dealing with them, and they're known as just being cheap. And yeah, you play for them, and they don't really appreciate you there, right? That's sort of the thought process there. But they have gotten younger, but I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they'll be on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Phoenix hits a bucket. They do foul. All right, there was a 1.5 second difference between the play clock and the game clock, and I was wondering whether they would actually play this thing out like
the
we've seen so many
anti-foul
times.
league.
Yeah, I mean, so they did foul. All right, Rob Donaldson, UnderddogFitness.com for this next.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say the caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Game live, game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe checking out a little baseball with our good buddy Rob Donaldson, UnderddogFantasy.com for all the fun, all the games that you get at UnderddogFantasy.com. So Rob got a couple of games that have yet to get underway, a couple that are also underway already and winding down, including Philadelphia, which tied up Miami actually tied up Philadelphia 3-3, but I think they're in a rain delay right now. But starting here in just a couple of moments, we'll start with the Angels and Royals. We got Kansas City Elimination number is 1. Depending on what happens today, this game might be meaningless, but laying $166 against a pitcher who's got no business being in a major league uniform for the Angels. Over-under is 9. Where you going with this one, Rob?
Yeah, kind of to your point, the Angels right now are trying out those September call-ups and just the younger guys to kind of get prepped for next season. And for that reason, I actually look at the Royals team total over 5.5 in this game. It's around like the plus 110, plus 100 category right now. And I don't think that this is a number that's out of reach within the first 5 frames, let alone the full game. And obviously the Angels bullpen, if we can get it tapped into them, early on, I'm feeling very good about that price.
What do you think of the Seattle game? The total seems a little light, doesn't it? I guess this is predicated on whether Seattle's offense, what they do, but Miller has kind of just been average. He's, He hasn't had a great year this year. And McCade Brown, this kid, he started 5 games and he's been absolutely lit up. His ERA is 9.17, and we got a total of 8. I'm baffled by this line, Ben, because I look at this and I'm surprised Seattle aren't bigger favorites, minus 135 on the run line. And I'm surprised the total isn't a little bit higher in this game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's a very indicative total of, hey, welcome to late September baseball where we're going to be seeing 50s and 45s, right? And that's a new kind of wave. We have to approach these games almost like we were doing it in March and April, and it's going to become more and more prevalent, especially when you're talking about the night slates. And when you're talking about Bryce Miller, I agree. I actually think he's one of those pitchers that, when his name is on the bump, still carries weight, even though it shouldn't. And so, for that reason, in a low-scoring affair, just based predicated on the total, and also a Rockies lineup that does feature some exciting bats almost on the back end at this point, I feel like there's actually a chance for the first 5 innings on the money line or on the run line to kind of take those Rockies with the plus 1.5.
Wow. I didn't want to hear that.
Wow. Yeah, that's we searched for guests today.
I wanted you to agree with me, yeah.
we got the alternative today, that's for sure.
You can get Colorado. I know, Scott, we talk about those run line bets. You can get Colorado plus 2.5 at minus 150. And, I brought up earlier, I actually think, I could see Seattle, in my opinion, winning the game 7-2 or something. And sure. But the alternate run line, me and Scott were talking about it earlier, and I wanted to get the numbers. They really don't pay much, Scott. Look at this. Minus 3.5 is only plus 185. I want more than that to win a Major League Baseball game by 4 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially when you're talking about cold weather approaches. T-Mobile is a hitter-friendly ballpark, or a pitcher-friendly ballpark, rather. And if you're looking at kind of that low-scoring total, yeah, I get it. The Rockies are bad. Nobody wants to back them. But if you're giving them free slotted runs, might as well take a shot when you can. And I feel like the name on the bump for Seattle is giving us a lot of inherent value here as well.
I will note, I am in the Pacific Northwest, and it is pretty hot, actually. And tonight in Seattle, it's 71 degrees. It's been pretty warm in the Pacific Northwest right now, just for the record for tonight's weather.
Houston taking on the A's. A's actually fighting. They don't want to finish in last place. They've been playing halfway decent, 7-3 their last 10. They've beaten the Astros actually 5 in a row. Believe it or not, they swept them a couple weeks ago in Houston. Astros 9-12, Rob, their last 21, including coming off the hands of the sweep 0-3 as well. Where are we going with this one, if anywhere?
Yeah, no, the A's are playing some fantastic baseball, and they've been one of my favorite backs since the trade deadline where, yeah, they got rid of Mason Miller. Yeah, they got rid of JP Sears, but kind of feels like they've gotten better since offloading those types of guys. And I think when you are looking at the lineups in this game, that's kind of where I think the story is going to play out. That's why we're seeing an over of 10. And honestly, on a 10 sort of total, I don't even mind taking that over. Or if you're looking through the first 5 lens, take the over a 5.5. I think both are very valuable plays in this spot.
Am I crazy, or did we not bring up the Dodger game yet? Do we go this long without talking about the best team in baseball? Come on, man. The future World Series champions.
With Ohtani on the hill, no less. Dodgers in Arizona.
Yeah, fat goes for the D-backs, Ben. Big series, right? Dodgers trying to clinch the division. D-backs fighting for their playoff lives. And you talked about it, Scott, about the Athletics having success against the Astros. The D-backs have given the Dodgers problems in the past.
100%. And also, when you're looking at Brandon Pfaadt in particular, he's one of those dudes that if you back on the right day, you feel like you nailed the angle because he can go out there and shove 7 innings of 0 earned ball. But there's also that side effect to him as well, where he can be susceptible to the deep ball, especially against lefty-heavy lineups, aka the Dodgers. And all of a sudden, that 0 earned runs that you're hoping for turns into 5 or 6. And for that reason, that kind of wild card side of it, why not take a shot actually on the under through the first 5? Because if Shohei Ohtani can go out and do his thing the way that he has through the first 5 innings, and we can get that good outing from Brandon Pfaadt, all of a sudden that 4.5, almost a flat 5 that I'm seeing out there is actually a really good bargain piece.
You want to touch Ohtani? Any kind of props with him? His over/under strikeouts is 5.5. Oddly enough, if FanDuel doesn't offer how many outs he had, they offer a whole bunch of goofy props, but they don't actually have a list of
He's hit
his
5
out totals.
in both his last starts. Yeah, so he sort of hit 5 in his last 2. Big game for them. I'm playing him to hit a home run. I brought it up earlier, Rob. It's a public square play, but the dude's got 4 home runs in his last 6 games. I mean, he is smoking hot at the plate right now.
And this is the type of pitcher that you want because the solo bombs are really prevalent with Brandon Pfaadt. That's just kind of how he is because he's super aggressive, hyper aggressive. And so it doesn't matter if it's Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber, or whoever at the plate, he's going to be challenging him from the outset. You're going to get a pitch to hit. I don't mind that play on Shohei Ohtani. And I think also when you're looking at Shohei Ohtani's pitching props, yeah, to that point, he's really only going 5 innings. And all this talk about him moving to the bullpen, whether or not that's actually legit, but if that actually is legit, all of a sudden we might be seeing him kind of shape up in like a 2-3 inning start here. And I would 100% look to the lower or the under on that strikeout total.
Mm-hmm. Any interest in Milwaukee, San Diego? Watch the end of that game, Rob. And the Padres, as they should. They celebrated pretty good last night, clinching the 4th postseason spot in their last 6 years. The pick 'em tonight against Milwaukee and this guy, Bruce Zimmerman, who stinks.
Exactly right. You kind of nailed it in terms of there's the hangover angle. There's also the pitcher who stinks angle. And yeah, I think from both sides of those coins, although I hate backing both these teams in terms of the over because both bullpens are fantastic, through the first 5 frames, I actually do like a Brewers team total over to be more specific because Randy Vasquez is a very good pitcher, I think, in certain spots, but a Brewers team that is still kind of chasing something in terms of that number 1 seed, I think their best offense is going to be put forth tonight, and all of a sudden that hangover, we might see it kick into effect right away.
Any interest in St. Louis, San Francisco? 2 frustrating teams for me.
That's the DGen special.
Yeah,
well, you brought up the Angels Royals already, so we got to do this one.
Yeah.
This is the battle of mediocrity, basically, at this point, because both teams, well, I guess the Cardinals kind of sat on their hands at the deadline. The Giants actually went out and got Devers and made a little bit of moves, but ultimately 2 teams that landed up in the exact same spot, 2 teams that have been very synonymous with the same kind of success, I guess, if you will, over the last 10 years or so. And for that reason, yeah, it's a very frustrating back. Even with Logan Webb on the bump, I actually think this game potentially could go over just because Andre Palante is on the bump.
Rob Donaldson, great job, man. As always appreciated. UnderdogFantasy.com is the site. Thanks, Rob.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Rob Donaldson, UnderdogFantasy.com. Great site to have a whole lot of fun with gambling and betting and fantasy stuff there. So we got baseball. We got some WNBA. They're in overtime. The game did go to overtime. They started the second game. We'll get to that.
Wild.
Wow, yeah, crazy. They had about 5,000 chances out of 3, and they finally sunk one to send the game to overtime.
And as you stated, so you and I were talking a lot about this Fever and the Aces game. So they actually start, can you imagine, Scott? Why can't you wait a couple of minutes?
I know.
You know what I mean? You're the WNBA. You really going to go head-to-head with your own damn game? What are they doing? Dude, the mismanagement of this league. The players are fine. The product is good. The commissioner's a moron. Let's just call it out for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, just wait 5 minutes. That's all. You're in Vegas. People in Vegas can't sit in the arena for a couple of minutes.
Dude, you put it on the screen in the arena and say, we're going to start after the game. People have money on it. It's Vegas. Say, hey, look,
promote
Yeah, this is who we're going to play later. This is what's going on. What are you doing? It's not rocket science.
Yeah. Idiotic. Big news out of college football. Couple things. Mike Gundy gets fired. Sorry to hear that. And then John Mateer, Oklahoma quarterback, ends up breaking his hand, Gabe. The guy played the whole game. And now they're saying that it probably happened in the first quarter. And he broke his throwing hand as well. And the guy still was terrific for Oklahoma. But, they're saying he's going to miss 4 weeks. I don't know. You got a broken hand on your throwing hands. I don't know how he's only missing 4 weeks. But little shit. If you're sitting on a Heisman Trophy, John Mateer, that's probably not going to work out.
With John Mateer. And you know what's crazy? He was actually listed as the favorite, guys, this week. Coming out of this weekend of college football play, John Mateer catapulted as the Heisman favorite trophy front runner. And, hell of a season, hell of a start to the season for Oklahoma. Big wins against Auburn, Jackson Arnold, Bryce Underwood, big phenom, big win against Michigan. Everything's going great for Oklahoma. And then, boom, they get dealt this news. He's gone from plus 750, Scott, to 33-1. So if you think the Mateer story, he's going to come back and they're going to give him whatever, and there's the Hollywood ending, it's 33-1. But the shuffling of the deck now, Fernando Mendoza becomes the favorite right now, Scott, at plus 750. It's funny, Mendoza, he played at Cal. He was a very good quarterback. People really didn't talk about him. Remember, he nearly beat Miami last year. But now he's on Indiana. He's more in a higher profile situation. He was on national television on Saturday night on NBC, big time performance, and boom. Listen, NFL scouts like this kid a lot. So he's worked his way into being a first round draft pick, but I don't think he's going to win the Heisman, Scott. Dante Moore's the second choice at 10-1, the Oregon Duck quarterback. He's putting up big numbers, and they play big games, man. Put it this way, if you like Dante Moore and you think they're going to beat Penn State, and they beat Penn State, Dante Moore's not going to be 10-1 anymore, right? So if they lose to Penn State, Dante Moore drops into the middle of the pack. It's one of those deals. My guy, Scott, just my pick right now, I say Carson Beck is going to win the Heisman Trophy in a 12-1 range. Miami are damn good. Their schedule is very manageable. He's going to put up big numbers. The media like him. He's going to play in high-profile games. He's going to be on TV a lot. Looking at his competitors here, I think Dante Moore is dangerous, but I think Beck is more serious. Gunnar Stockton ain't winning the Heisman. Jeremiah Smith's a wide receiver. He's not winning. Aguilar from Tennessee is not winning. Josh Hoover, TCU quarterback's not winning. I go down the list. Marcel Reed, quarterback, Texas A&M, not winning. Nussmeier's beat up, and LSU's offense isn't explosive as people thought. He's fallen to 16-1. My guy, Scott, that I would throw out there as a dark horse here, Jaden Maiava, the quarterback of the USC Trojans. USC are good this year. USC are going to be undefeated when they host the Michigan Wolverines on October the 11th. They win that game, and they're like 6-0, and it's real. Like, USC have a chance of going to the playoffs this year. I thought they were going to go over their win total. I bet it, Scott, over 7.5. But, dude, he's got 1,223 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on an undefeated football team. And, oh, yeah, he's a Lincoln Riley quarterback. 20-1 for a Lincoln Riley quarterback that's putting up big numbers, Scott, I'm in.
That's not bad. And they got the big game against Notre Dame, which will get, if he puts up big numbers against the Irish,
And they don't need to go undefeated to win the Heisman either, Scott. He just needs to win more than he loses, go 10-2 type thing, and you'll be good,
Yeah. The only thing I notice is goofy, Gabe, but the only thing that might hold him back is what you said as a positive, and that is he's USC quarterback. And the list of USC quarterbacks.
So people will say, well, it's not him. That
just
it's
another
system. Or,
Matt Leinart and all the guys, right?
But the
Caleb
numbers
Williams.
don't lie, man. He's put up some pretty big numbers.
I tell you, I like the Carson Beck, and I'll use that same kind of like goofy philosophy, right? Because it is Heisman Trophy. You got to remember this, and it's voters, and it's people voting. It's you and I
it's
voting.
A popularity contest.
Yes, and I think Carson Beck.
Oh, the comeback angle of it, huh? The comeback story, yeah.
And they would say, like, if Miami completes the deal,
got dumped by the Instagram girlfriend, had a bad year,
Georgia
got
ran
injured,
him out of town.
everybody everybody picked on him and laughed at him. He's a goofy-looking kid too, so he's got picked on the internet a lot, right?
Kind of those Billy Joel bulging eyes. It's kind of like, but I think he would get credit for finally taking Miami over the top, because Miami's been good. They just never win, as goofy as it sounds, But if they win this year, what's the difference this year? It's Carson Beck. They wouldn't be Mario Cristobal. It would be, all right, what?
He's going to get the credit.
So,
their defense is really good, but he's going to get the credit for the wins. That's the way that it works.
Right.
No, I think he's going to. That's the guy. If I said,
it's not bad.
Dante Moore is for real, but they could lose at Penn State on Saturday. They have a couple of tough games. Right. I could see him sort of falling off, but he's the real deal, Dante Moore. I just don't think 10-1 is good enough. I think Beck is a bigger play. He's more of the media story. And Maiava, USC, that story, eventually the national media will start paying attention. Still too early in the season yet.
Yeah. And the one thing Mendoza, that kid from Indiana, has going for him is clearly, as we've seen this year, the coach has no problem putting 50 points on the board against anybody. So his numbers are going to be phenomenal.
He's got a couple of chances. So they play Iowa this week. Then they go to Oregon. If he can go to Oregon and beat Dante Moore and put up 50 in a track meet, then you know what I'm saying? Like, he's right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. All right, back to the board when we come back.
Let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right, it's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe closing up shop on fast 2 hours. That is for sure. We started the program 2 hours ago with our 6 best picks for the night, as we like to call them, the opening pickoff. So run down mine. Phoenix and Minnesota went to overtime. The regulation score was an under. It goes to overtime, so the game goes over. That's a loser. The other 5, basically just all getting underway. Kelsey Mitchell, she's got 4 points in the first quarter of the Indiana Las Vegas game. Oakland just underway with Houston. Same thing, Milwaukee, San Diego. No score there. Let me see if Kansas City's put any runs on the board. Yes, 2 runs in the top of the first inning. How about that? We're playing over 4.5, so that's looking off to a good little start against that pitcher. And then Seattle laying a 1.5 against Colorado. That is scoreless, I do believe, in the first inning. Yes, bottom of the first inning, Mariners with a runner on base. So our picks my picks anyway, for the most part, just getting underway. How are yours doing, Gabe?
Yeah, same thing. And we're on opposite sides of the Astros and Athletic game. This game is just getting going right now. It's about to start. We are in the bottom of the first already. We're both on. We like Seattle tonight. So, yeah, my action's just getting started right now. The Dodgers game just started, and Ohtani, obviously, and my prop just getting started here. We did hit the Cleveland Guardians earlier. We're going to lose with the Toronto Blue Jays, so we're down 4-1. Our hockey experiment. So we ended up going 2-4 in the first 6. It was a late goal to beat us. So we go 2-4 in the first 6. That's not ideal, the position you want to be in. But with the 5 remaining games right now, we're into the third period. We got a 2-1 game in Winnipeg. We're into the third period. We got a 1-1 game in Minnesota and Dallas. We're going into the third period. I got a 2-0 hockey game. The Kraken and the Flames are tied at 1 after 1 period. Not ideal, but not terrible. Vegas and the Kings are about to start right now. So we'll see. I'm hoping to go 6-5 with this experiment tonight, Scott, and at least not lose and hit a couple of these plus monies on the way out. But we'll keep our eye on this. And we got to start attacking sides as well in the NHL preseason. It's like anything else. If you put the work in, and we'll do it for you, essentially. And we'll have some picks tomorrow night for this, but it's very Major League Baseball preseason-like. There's split squads. Sometimes, they've got a bunch of, kids playing. Other times they got the vets. They mix it up, and if you keep your eye and you're paying attention, we can be profitable in the NHL preseason.
All right. Gave out a couple bets that, have your position to be winners. Yankees did tie up Chicago. Remember we told you grab them at pick 'em?
Yeah, 105.
And I said exactly. Yeah, and I said, as long as they tie it, they'll be favorites. And right now they're minus 265. So at bottom of the ninth inning, they got to run around first and second. So if you wanted to grab Chicago, the White Sox, you got a chance to hedge your bet. So that's looking pretty good. Mets and Cubs each scored some runs. It's 7-7, bottom of the seventh. We said go over the 15.5. Still need 2 more runs for that, but the number now is 16.5. So we're in a good position there. Orioles 6-0 over Tampa Bay. I'm telling you, if this thing goes under, bet it tomorrow, folks. And the game will be already underway by the time Gabe and I get on the air at 8 o'clock Eastern time. But, this will be 13 straight unders if they can hold on here. It's 6.5 they're giving you right now. In fact,
it's quite the streak.
Yeah, I mean, that is amazing, right? It's goofy. And did the Atlanta Braves, just out of curiosity, give another goofy, sometimes you get these goofy off the radar, who's paying attention to the Atlanta Braves, right? They were going for their 10th straight win tonight. I think they got it. They were playing the Nationals, and they were leading late. They won 3-2. So, I mean, who wants to call up your local Louis to Lip and say, give me the Atlanta-Washington line and Baltimore-Tampa Bay line, will you please? And it'll be like, what? But
baseball players, it's not like other sports. They're all playing for individual stats at all times. They don't care about their team record. It's a business. It's a job.
Exactly. So a win is a win, whether it's Red Sox Toronto or whether it is Tampa Bay or in Baltimore. So Gabe and I'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 8 to 10 right here on the grid. Coming up next after us, Paige Sporanic, Prop Star Gimme Prop Series, a new series here on SportsGrid. You name it, she's going to be in it, whether it's in a bikini, in a tub of ice, with poker chips, solo cups, championship belts, pardon the pun, but all pages off here. It's Paige Sporanic coming up after us, Prop Star in a prop series right here on the grid. So you don't want to go anywhere, so make sure you stay tuned in for that. So hopefully made a couple shekels along the way. Like I said, Gabe and I will be back tomorrow. We'll preview some of the NFL stuff with the Thursday game and some college football stuff as well. So enjoy your, rest of the Tuesday evening. And let's make some money tomorrow. And let's get some Dodger runs tonight also, and some Seattle runs. Those are the 2 biggies for me. The Black Cloud play also with Kelsey Mitchell with their points. We'll talk to you